BSG presidential debate. I'm Ava Moore with Margaret Unger, and we're going to moderate this debate as journalists for the Orient. Your two candidates today are Alex Cruz and Max Payne. We're going to start by giving them each a minute to introduce themselves. Go ahead, Alex.
All right. Oh, wow. Hi, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm a junior. I'm an anthropology gov major and English minor. I've been involved with the BSG since my first year, and I really started to love it. I was on the SOC, and then which is sort of in charge of all the clubs. And then I was the chair of student organizations in my sophomore year, just sort of in charge of club rechartering, events for club leaders, creating events and helping create events between clubs, and then also the club wall, which you guys can see as you're leaving, across from the mail center. Other than that, I'm one of the leaders of American Sign Language Club. I am a big fan of the Craft Center, and I'm just really happy to be a part of the Bowdoin community. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Max Payne. I'm a junior. I'm a Gov and Philosophy double major. I work in the library. I've been part of BSG for the past 2 years. I ran for class president my first year and didn't win, sadly, but I stuck with it. And I was a class treasurer my sophomore year, serving on the SAFC, and this past year I was chair of the treasury, which I really loved. I got to talk to so many student groups to see what they were doing on campus and help them really actualize their ideas. I was also very happy to be part of the Briggs transportation shuttles this year and help make that work. Yeah.
All right, well, just to get started, our first question is, what is an initiative or goal you would like to prioritize if you win, and how would you go about implementing it?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that I really do want to accomplish is expanding the Briggs transportation shuttles. So we got to do that for the first time this year. It was something that Bowdoin had in the past, and I was very, very happy that we got to do it again this year, but I don't think we did it enough. I think we only had 2 breaks where we were able to transport students down to the Portland Jetport and the Portland transportation station, and that was just not enough. I was there at the very first shuttle at 5 a.m. on a Friday for Thanksgiving break in the fall, and that was just awesome. I mean, as a student who, I'm very lucky to only be from Massachusetts, but I remember how difficult it was to get home, especially as a first year as a sophomore. And we had 10 students at 5 a.m. In the rain, just happy that they didn't have to, give $90, $100 to, kind of a shady taxi service or something like that. And I'd like to expand it to both fall break and maybe even winter break or summer break. And I think it's a tall task, but the way we can do it is by planning ahead. I think if we can get the groundwork done this spring for next year, we can actually make it happen. And it was a lot of difficulty. There's a lot of people we had to talk to throughout the administration, student activities, so many, even lawyers, stuff like that, Matt Orlando, and we were able to get it done this year, but I think we can do more and help students more.
Yeah, one initiative that I'm really excited to hopefully work on next year is specific allocations within the SAFC budget for affinity groups, some of the big affinity groups on campus. These are some of the biggest events at Bowdoin, and they're also really essential for bringing students together, students from different cultures, and they're some of the most exciting events and the most fun events, and just having specific allocations in the SAFC budget for those events, just so it doesn't have to be a specific worry when it comes to those things, making sure that the BSG is fully supporting those events.
Thank you both. Our next question is, what do you think is BSG's role on campus? And as BSG president, how will you make sure BSG fulfills this role?
To me, BSG's roles on campus is advocating for students. That's full stop. We are the voice of students to the administration, not the other way around. We are in charge of really just doing what you guys want. And I think that in a lot of ways, as president, the way to do that is, one of the ways that I want to do that is really increasing transparency and student involvement I think I want to have an online forum for students to submit their ideas for BSG, like anything that, if students have a passion but they're not a member of BSG, they can submit that online. Think like the dining hall, like comment cards. And then also, I mean, if you want to do it now, you guys can email me, bump into me in the hall, whatever. I'm very willing to listen. But being more open to students and also letting students know more what we're up to. I think a lot of students on campus don't have a super great idea of what BSG does, how they can be involved, and the amazing leadership opportunities that BSG provides, especially for younger students. And so I think part of BSG's role is to publicize those opportunities, to publicize the ways that people can get involved, and to like really just do what you guys want.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Alex said there. I think that BSG really should serve as the voice for students on campus. I think in the past it hasn't. I think students don't feel a connection to their BSG. They see what they don't even know what BSG is doing a lot of times, and they see the leadership or just the members, and they wonder, are they actually speaking for me? And I'd like to make sure students do feel that way. I think that comes with increasing transparency. Like we currently do publish our meeting notes, but they're hidden away on the BSG website. I think there's a way that we can make it much more public and publicize it more to see so students can actually see what we're doing. I also think I want to change the culture of BSG and the culture of Bowdoin's relationship to BSG in the sense that I want, as president, any single student who I've never met before to stop me on the quad, in the library, in the dining hall, or in the dining line even. Like, I want them to be able to stop me and feel comfortable stopping me and telling me, this is my idea for BSG, or this is a problem I see at Bowdoin. How can BSG help me? Even if BSG cannot actually make a change, we can help students in figuring out how to do that. I think the best thing about BSG is our connections to administration, to faculty, to student activities. When any average student walks up to the president's office, I don't know if I trust the president fully to take their opinion as strongly as they might take the opinion from somebody who's on BSG, who can come with a backing of saying, I represent students, I represent student voices. So I really think that the role of BSG is to elevate student voices. And in the past, because students don't feel that connection to BSG, it hasn't been doing that. It really hasn't.
All right, thank you both. Our next question is, what is a day-to-day challenge you think the student body currently faces, and how would you lead BSG in navigating these obstacles if elected?
I think that's a great question. I feel like a lot of times BSG talks about different initiatives and stuff like that, and students wonder, what are they actually doing for me? I think one thing that I'm very happy that both of us have as a goal is the laundry sheets initiative. And that's something that we had last year and we didn't do this year. And I was very disappointed that we didn't. I think that we didn't prioritize it, and we should have. And I think as a student who's on aid, my first year was kind of difficult. First of all, I didn't have a car. How am I going to get to Walmart, or I have to walk all the way to Hannaford's to go buy laundry, go buy laundry detergent, and then do I even have the money? There's a lot of students who don't work on campus. Are we making sure that they have this basic need that they need to really be a student? Should you be worrying about how am I going to pay for my laundry? And I think if BSG can do that again, it'll be much more helpful for students. I think over the last year, I've built the connections with administrators, with student activities, where I can help make that happen again. Especially working as chair of the Treasury, working very intimately with the BSG budget. I know how much money we're going to need to use and spend, but I think it's fully worth it. I think it's fully worth it to give students that peace of mind that they deserve. They shouldn't have to worry about how they're going to do their laundry. It's a basic amenity that Bowdoin doesn't help students with. They don't, and I think in that place, BSG needs to step in and help students.
Yeah, I'm also really happy that whichever one of us wins, the promise is now, whichever one of us wins, that is happening next year. Laundry sheets they're so much better for the environment. They I was involved in some of the initial, like handing them out, packaging them, putting them into laundry rooms, and it really was something where they were used immediately. People really enjoyed that, and I'm really happy that we're bringing that back, whichever one of us wins. Another thing, I think that there's a lot of particularly money things that I think that BSG can help with day to day. Another example that comes to mind is adjusting the amount of Polar points that we get for inflation. The prices on things at Bowdoin have gone up, like in the C-store, that sort of thing, but the amount of Polar points that we get hasn't gone up. That is something that the BSG can advocate for. That is a direct way in which the BSG and I as president can help you in your day-to-day life.
Awesome. Our next question is, what is something you think BSG needs to improve on, and how will you make this improvement as BSG president? Similarly, what is something you think BSG has done well this past year?
Well, BSG, I think the one thing that we can really improve on is, I think that we have, this is sort of a two-part answer, but I think that we have a lot of unnecessary bureaucracy where we can sometimes get in our own way. One example that comes to mind is like policy of if you propose something, you have to wait until the next week to vote on it, that sort of thing. It just sort of can slow our progress. And also, sort of to that end, like transparency, like I said, really making sure that we're publicizing what we're doing, publicizing how students can get involved. That's something that I think that we, as BSG, and also publicizing the